Hi, I'm Allison of Bebop and Knit, and for today's video I'm going to show you some of the nuances of working two color fisherman's rib when worked flat. This is a asymmetric cowl design that's knit flat. It's called the Layers Cowl, and I'm going to be working the light layers version, which is worked in a sport weight yarn. For this, I'm using Spin Cycle yarns dyed in the wool in two different contrasting colors, so I can really show you that two-color fisherman's rib. It's very similar to in feel of the brioche stitch, but it's a little bit more accessible. I think in a lot of ways. Basically, instead of doing yarn overs and the brioche stitches, you're going to do knit and purls in the stitches below to get that squishy ribbed effect. So what I want to show you today is basically how to navigate those two yarns while you're flipping and sliding, turning and sliding your work. So we're going to start on the wrong side row, and I'm just going to knit my I-cord stitches. And then we're going to purl one, and I'll kind of show you. So you're going to knit into the stitch below. Okay, so you'll see that there's this, that stitch is really prominent, and you're going to knit right into that and pull, and this main color yarn then becomes slack, and it'll just kind of slip into place, and it makes that really squishy double fabric. So we're going to purl one, and then again knit below into that previous stitch, previous row. Okay, purl one, knit below, and for some people it might help to kind of pull down the stitches a little bit. I wouldn't do it too much, but you can pull it down so you can really see that space, and you know that you're getting into that space and you're not like going to the side by accident or just into that top loop. You want to really make sure you're going under this this bar and in between those V's. Really aim for that bottom part of the V. Okay, and we're coming to the end of our row. And so this is where it can get a little bit tricky for some people with either brioche or two-color fisherman's rib. You have these two working yarns, and so you don't want to twist them because then you'll see like a kind of a strange twist in your I-cord edge, or you may end up with your opposite color showing in this first rib. You might get some main color showing in these stitches when you only want your contrast color showing. Okay, so what I do when I'm moving my yarn back to the front is I make sure to really hold it against this needle. As I turn, I pinch with my left hand, pinch it to this needle so it does not have any way of twisting with my with my main color yarn, and I hold on to it until I've knit my I-cord. Okay, now because this first stitch is not a knit below or a purl below, it doesn't quite matter if you hold on to this yarn or let it go. I let it go just out of habit, and you'll see at the end of this row what I mean when I say that. So we're gonna go across this whole row with our main color now, and we're gonna purl one, then knit one below. And you can see it's pretty obvious which side is which when you do the two colors, which is really nice. You're not going to accidentally start knitting in the wrong color because it's pretty obvious to see. This side is obviously knit below with main color as your outside rib, and then you'll purl below with your contrast color, and it's the opposite on the back. So we're going to keep going through these stitches. Knit one below, purl one, knit one below, purl one, oops, there we go, knit one below. Okay, and then I'm going to slip these two I-cord edge stitches. Okay, and I'm going to set down that working yarn, slide. So again, remember that when we're doing 2-color fisherman's rib, we need to work each row 2 times. So you're going to work it across with your main color, then you're going to slide the stitches back, and you're going to work across the same row with your contrast color. So you work each color separately before turning your work. So we're going to knit our I-cord edge. Then, because I'm using my contrast color and I'm going to be working these belows, I'm going to start doing my purls. So I purl below underneath that purl bump. And these, I think, give people some more trouble doing that purl below. For some reason, your yarn really wants to fall off. Just go slow. There's no need to rush. I know that I'm knitting it fast, but I've been knitting this a really long time. So just go slow. I'll try to be as slow as I can so you can really see how finicky those purls can be. You're going to really make sure you go underneath those 2 yarns, okay? Underneath that purl bump. Purl, slide, off, okay? Purl, 1 below, knit 1. All right, and we're getting to the end here, so this is where I'll show you what I mean. So again, we're gonna hold this yarn really nice and tight as we're turning our work. So that way they don't twist. Again, you don't want them to twist, otherwise your I-cord edge is gonna look a little bit funny. So yeah, we're gonna hold this as we're knitting these 2 stitches, okay? And then now I'm gonna let it go. And the reason I need to let it go is because this first stitch is gonna be a purl stitch in a purl 1 below, a P1B. So you see how on the back, the previous working yarn, the contrast yarn, makes up this part of makes up part of this stitch. So we need to make sure we open up that stitch below enough for you to get your needle in there correctly. So you see how this working yarn comes in here? You want to make sure that when you're purling below that you're picking up that bar. Do you see where this part is at? So you want to really make sure that your needle goes underneath that as well. Okay, so we're going to purl that just like that. And then it'll look kind of funny. Like I said in previous tutorial videos with 2-color fisherman's rib, sometimes the previous color pops through and it doesn't wiggle into place, but it will. It's not a wrong stitch, and unless you've missed getting underneath that bar. Okay, so we're gonna keep going. Across the whole row, and like as I've mentioned before, when you're working on the wrong side, it's going to be the opposite of the right side. So on the right side with the main color, we're knitting 1 below. On the wrong side, we're going to be purling 1 below, and vice versa for the contrast color. On the front, on the right side, you'll be knitting or purling 1 below, and then on the wrong side, you will be knitting 1 below. And this alternates. You're always going to knit your main color first, contrast color second. And so that kind of rhythm, the more you knit 2-color fisherman's rib, the easier it will be to remember which one comes first, right? All right, so again, you're going to go across this row. We're going to knit 2, purl, knit 1 below, purl, knit 1 below. And we're just going to go across this whole row. Oops, I'm getting tangled. Sorry about that. Purl, knit 1 below, purl, knit 1 below, purl, and again, you really want to make sure that you're getting in between those yarns, Okay, so you'll see here, this is where that working yarn for your main color was. You really want to make sure that you get right into that space, so that way this stitch, when it comes down, when it falls, I'll kind of show you that. When it comes off the needle, it falls right into place, right? Did you see how it slid behind your contrast color? Okay, so again, slip those two, pinch and hold as you turn. All right, I hope you enjoyed Two Color Fisherman's Rib and the Layers Cowl.